Well, finally got myself a dresser to store most of my crap. My room's somewhat clean now, and a lot more stuff has been cleared out, so I can actually have stuff in here when I want to work again. So with that said, I'm actually going to work on Kongou's base. I'm going to do a fairly simple upgrade. I'm going to be adding a speaker down here, a speaker down here, and I'm going to be swapping out the amplifier that I currently have in here with a better amplifier, which is this guy right here that I actually used to use right by my bed right here when I was listening to my radio station and whatnot. I finally got my parents to let me have this stupid Alexa dot thingy, so if I want to yell at it to do something, I can yell at it and do something. And I don't need this amplifier anymore for when I'm sleeping and whatnot. So I'm actually going to utilize this amplifier in Kongou's base, because on Kongou's base, this thing will be more properly utilized because this thing provides quite a bit of power. And I want to get this thing as loud as possible, and I also want to add in 2 more speakers to help with the audio quality and whatnot. So with that said, let me get everything set up and show you exactly what I'm going to do. Alright, here is the speaker box that I came up with. It's fairly simple in its design. It will basically point the speakers down firing to the floor. I don't know how much I'll change how this thing actually sounds, but the way sound works, it might improve the quality or it might not. I don't know yet. So since I'm hot gluing this onto spray paint foam board, I have no idea how sturdy it's going to be. So I'm going to have these little tabs in there also, and I'm going to physically hot glue these tabs to the inner wall of the foam board that's not been spray painted. That way, so even if this part does come loose, these tabs will be able to maintain it on the actual structure and not just have it fall off. This really shouldn't impact the actual overall weight because these are fairly light speakers, and I am using some fairly big rare earth magnets, but I don't know how much weight the rare earth magnets can actually handle before they just decide to collapse. But it's been maintaining itself so far for 2 years, and hopefully it'll be like that for a little while longer. If anything, I'll probably end up needing to rebuild the actual base that Kongou sits on, but I'll go by that whenever something happens. So I'm going to get this one attached, I'm going to get the other one attached, and then we'll go on from there. Also, we may have the occasional cat eating in the background. And of course, I also have Griffin Gaming to keep myself occupied as I build this stupid monstrosity out some more. So at least I have something to keep myself entertained with. Oh yeah, and to give the speaker box the highest chance of adhering to the foam board, I'm using my high temp hot glue gun because, well, it's a lot more higher temp than my small one, and the actual hot glue is a lot thicker, so hopefully this should be enough to keep it in place. But again, I'm hot gluing onto a spray painted foam board. I have no idea how sturdy it's going to be, so again, that's why I'm adding these tabs. So now we'll come back when I get all this situated. Alright, I think I got an idea to properly mount the amplifier. But first I need to cover up this hole, only slightly though. So I put 2 popsicle sticks, one here, and I got this little piece here, and all I'm going to do is put hot glue there, and it's going to be nothing more than a patch. And then once that's done, I'm going to figure out the actual proper final placement of the amplifier and get all that glued in and kind of explain how wiring and whatnot's going to work. It's actually nearly 4 p.m. right now, so once I get done getting the amplifier set in place and whatnot, I'm actually going to go to bed. Alright, here is the general placement for the amplifier. It's going to be on the side to the right, where or actually on the left, where I normally walk around, because whenever it comes to this thing, I'm usually on the left side instead of the right. Even though I'm a right-handed person, whenever I'm like walking around and whatnot, I tend to be to the left of my stuff. That way, so I can easily go in there and control the volume and whatnot. But what I need to do now is I need to figure out how to more properly secure the amplifier, either to the actual physical base itself, or somehow secure it to this piece here. I have a few ideas, but I don't know if they're going to work or not, especially considering I'm very sleepy and I want to kill that freaking cricket underneath the goddamn oven. Hence why I have that light there. But yeah. I'm actually going to take this opportunity and basically go to bed now. I want to be able to more properly figure out how I'm going to do this when I'm more awake. That way so I don't screw it up. So I will come back when I wake up later today, probably around, let's say 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or 9 a.m., p.m., sorry. Alright, it's now the next day. Normally I'll be recording this in the kitchen, but my parents are currently up and about doing stuff and I don't really want to bother them. So with that said, here's the solution I came up with for mounting the amplifier and whatnot. Here's that little side piece I was talking about, and when it comes to actually holding the amplifier, I made this little contraption here which basically friction fits the amplifier to the actual case itself. How am I going to do this? It'll more or less look like this. These little two side pieces here helping it friction fit downwards, putting force downwards so it maintains its place in the actual thing here. And in the bottom I have this nice little piece of a popsicle stick actually stopping this thing from going more further back. And when it comes to the actual screws right here, I actually put some popsicle sticks here for the screws to actually rub against instead of rubbing against the foam. That way, so the wear down rate on these is a lot less than on the paper. It still will wear down, but considering how often I'll probably need to pull this thing on and off and whatnot, I don't see it wearing out anytime soon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go more properly attach this to the actual thing and then come back. Also, I need to figure out the actual wiring for this thing, so I also need to do that. And when it comes to the actual wiring that's going to be connecting to the amplifier and whatnot, I'm just going to utilize this big old hole right here that I have left over from the original amplifier. And of course, I did a little patch right here like I showed earlier. This hole right here though, I'm actually going to patch it up because having this hole like this is actually going to mess with the acoustics. I have this little hole here so I could actually add some reinforcement hot glue here and here. That way so this piece doesn't actually bow and whatnot because it was fairly loose. So I'm going to figure out the wiring and whatnot, and I'm going to more properly, then of course I'm going to attach all this stuff and whatnot, and I'll come back when all that is done. Alright, I got the side piece fully attached and I got the amplifier inside. It doesn't seem to easily come out, so that's good. And I also went and added the other little piece the other side here to clean up, and well, it looks a lot more nicer. So the next thing I really gotta do is I gotta close off this area and the back side here. Same thing with this side and this side, and maybe like a few more things here and there. I know when it comes to the car body, it's gonna be rebuilt. I just gotta get some foam board, and unfortunately, foam board's been very difficult to get for the past year or so. But with that said, I can at least give you a general idea of what this thing sounds like, because it's currently nighttime right now and I really can't go that loud, and I need also charge up the battery. So I'll just give you a general idea of what it sounds like, and then later on today when I wake up, I'm going to go outside in the back and I'm going to place fire on this thing and see if it can survive.
Habitually life through health. Move. We're owed one gay up. Oh.
Well, one thing's for certain, my camcorder doesn't know how to properly handle the ISO outside, but with that said, I decided to bring Kongou outside in completion because I actually haven't messed with her in over a year or so, and I want to make sure everything's in working order. And I noticed that I have two LEDs that are acting up. This one right here is acting up, so I gotta figure out what's wrong with this one. And there's an LED in here too, I forget which one it is. But I also got an LED on this turret here that's also acting up also. So luckily I managed to find some issues, and I'm going to go and do some repairs after I'm done with this video. Now obviously I do not have a snake called Frank, but I got a cat named Fluff, and a cat named Siamese, and a cat named Speed. So at least I have some form of animal in this video, even though sadly not a snake, but the cat will do just fine. So that said, let me get everything set up and I'll come back. Obviously, I'm using a wire for this. The amplifier does have a Bluetooth on it, but since I'm playing Scarlet Fire, obviously I want to have it wired. I'm using my iPhone instead of my Android phone, because as we all know, iPhones produce a lot more power than Android phones when it comes to actual audio and whatnot. So with that said, let's see if this thing can actually handle the song. Obviously, I don't want to blow the thing up, but still, it has to be done. Obviously, it can handle it just fine. This isn't all stinky butts, but still. Now, when it comes to the actual amplifier that's in Kongou that I upgraded to, it can handle 24 volts. So if I got myself a 6S and completely swapped out the speakers on this thing for speakers that could actually handle that type of power, I bet this thing could get even louder than it already does. So with that said, that pretty much forgoes the whole that pretty much puts an end to this video, because again, all I really want to do was swap out the amplifier and add in 2 new speakers and whatnot, and of course add a meme at the very end.